What is up, guys? It is Justin again with another unboxing video. This is going to be a very, very, very special unboxing video. I just recently, we've started to enter the slowdown at work. Things are finally calming down a little bit. I finally get a little bit of time to myself, a little bit of time to build, and to kind of congratulate myself on making it through. Sort of as a Christmas present, I bought myself two resin kits that I've had my eye on for a really long time now. There's still a couple other ones that I want to grab, but you got to pick and choose sometimes. Try not to add too much to the backlog, especially the resin backlog, because that's a hard one to get through. Those are definitely projects in themselves, which leads me to our next point, and that's going to be our the kits that we got. So what did I pick up? So the first. We're just going to do an unboxing of this one. We'll do another video for the other kit. This is the GK model, shop2000.com.tw/GK-M. This is the SD-styled Zaku kit that you may have seen floating around online. I fell in love with this thing on Twitter a long time ago. It turns out, by some means or another, it has become a resin model kit. So I had to have it. So inside, you're going to get, there was a larger bag. I've opened this and looked at it a little bit. There was a larger bag. This was all wrapped in bubble wrap. And inside that large bag were these three smaller bags. And inside these three smaller bags are all of these pieces that are shown here. Now, the first thing I'm going to say straight away as a negative, this is probably not a kit for beginners, for like absolute beginners. If you are kind of thinking about resin, you're still a little intimidated by it, not really going to put this one on the recommendations because, well, it doesn't come with instructions. This is what you get. You get parts. So we've got a whopping 24 parts up front. And then another 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 or so. So we've got a pretty good chunk of parts. It's not the parts heaviest kit I've worked on by a lot. But, to somebody who has never done this before, this might be a little daunting. So we're going to start with the large parts bag, and we're just gonna go through them and see what we've got, and then I'm gonna lay them all out, and when I'm done with the video, I will count them all out and make sure I have everything. But here is some of the larger parts. We have the head. This is pretty straightforward. If you didn't know that this was the head, you probably shouldn't be working on resin. But there you go. It's super clean cast. There's a little bit of kind of a lip right here. There's I'm gonna have to sand this down anyway, so that's not that big of a deal. There's some flash in the windows. As you can see, you cannot see through that. You can see my finger kind of through it a little bit, but I just need to go ahead and get in there with a knife and clean that up a little bit. The other side's actually pretty okay. It looks fine to me. But the panel lines are nice and crisp. I don't see any indents or bubbles or anything crazy like that. So hopefully this will be one of those, throw it in some degreaser, get rid of the gunk, and then we can go straight to prime. So here's the chest piece, or well, the chest block and the hips block. So we're going to look at the hips first. Again, same kind of deal, really nice looking detail. Got a small bubble here, that's an easy fix. Resin gate, there doesn't seem to be any kind of jaggies. There's a little bit of a lip right here. I can sand that out, that's no problem. We're going to rescribe all this and make sure everything looks nice and sharp. But the cast looks great. The chest block, most of this is going to be covered up, except maybe these front little bits here, where the doors are, and then what sticks out from here. But the rest of this, I believe, is going to be covered with armor and stuff like that. So this will be easy to paint where it sticks out so much. Really happy about that. Backpack is a really strange shape, but it looks fine. There's a tiny little bubble or like a bump here. Just sand that out, and that's good to go. But again, details are nice and sharp. The shield, I was kind of surprised by. I didn't realize the shield had any detail on it. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that on camera. But there we go. Nice little lines with some latches over top. On the back side, we've got a little bit of detail as well, so I can mask that all off if I want to, which I probably will. Now this piece, I haven't quite figured out what it is. I'm going to assume that this probably goes underneath the eye. I originally thought that this was the piece that holds the mono eye, but it is not, because I found that piece and this is not it. So I'm thinking that like might sit on top here or something like that. It fits kind of inside the head. I don't really know. We're gonna play with it and figure it out. But and then we've got the thighs. Now this is a chunky boy. So he's got nice thick thighs. His thighs are actually thicker than his lower legs. Like his thighs are thicker than his shins. It's kind of funny. So next we're going to jump into the next largest package, and this is these are slightly less obvious bits, a lot of them anyway. Obviously you're going to know what the gun is. Got a tiny bit of warping, I think. It's not too bad, but we'll see what it looks like when I cut it free. We got the two sides to the chest. These are looking really sharp. They look as though they're going to fit right over top. I'm not going to have to do any crazy fitting. They just work. So there we go, just like that. This is another mystery piece. I'm not really sure what this is or what this is supposed to be. It's on the parts list. I just don't know what it is. So maybe this, I don't know. I'll figure it out. It's just not having instructions makes parts like this really unusual, because like I can tell what all this stuff is so far. It's just this is kind of throwing me for a loop. We've got both arms, and this arm right here I believe is going to be the one that plugs into our shield, maybe. Perhaps. Yeah, I think this is the one. That's going to plug in just like that, and you're going to be able to maneuver that shield around. It's got a lot of peg holes already drilled into it, so all I need to do is run brass rods through all that. Here's our forearms. These are probably some of the nicer looking pieces, which is saying something, because the other pieces look great, but there's not really any flash or anything crazy. These are really kind of complex shapes, so I'm glad that I don't have to do a whole lot of work on those. Here are the feet and the lower leg, and like I said, this is gonna just kind of plug into that and that thick boy thigh and make a really interesting looking a really interesting looking piece. For piping, this is probably for the head. I think that's a safe assumption. Usually the larger, thicker piping is for the head, and there's not a lot of bends or anything in it, so I think that's where that's going to go. And then these little bit thinner, curvier ones are going to be for the chest and the backpack. Here's that eyepiece I was telling you about. This is looking like the neck piece, and then this probably plugs into that, and then that sits on top. I think that's how that's going to go. And then you set the helmet on top of all of it. It doesn't fit right now because all the gates, but you get the idea. So I can't for the life of me figure out what this is. Then we got the shoulder. Looks nice. Really complex looking shape right here, but it looks good. So happy with that. Let's go ahead and scoot this over just so we can see the little pieces. These are the smallest of the small. So here's the front of your chest. That's going to fit over top of this right there, just like that. Make that little cockpit that we all know and love. Let's see, we got 1, 2, and 3 little spikes. Those are going to go on our shoulder, and I think we have 2 short ones and 1 long one, so we all know what that leads to. We have the optional command horn. I probably won't use this, but it's really nice looking. So if I end up picking the cross silhouette up, I'll go ahead and throw that on there. Next, we've got 2 of the pipes for the legs, and then I think this is what plugs into the back of the head, so that's simple enough. This looks like what plugs into the front of the chest. These are pieces for the gun, as well as this. Ah, that's what these are. Okay, so these look like, what are these? These are your elbow guards for the back of the arms. These go, thought I saw another one. Where'd it go? Now there's only one of these, so what the hell is this? I don't know. And then we got these 2 little guys. I'm not quite sure where they go yet either. And then there's hands. There's a hand for holding the weapon and 2 closed fists. No heat hawk with this one, unfortunately, but it's really nicely detailed. It's really solid. It looks great. I'm sure I could, if I wanted to, I could cobble together a heat hawk from some of my other parts, and it wouldn't look too ridiculous, and go from there. So really, we've only got a really small handful of pieces, and I'm not really sure where they go. We still got these 2 guys right here, this weird hinge joint looking thing, which doesn't appear to go anywhere, and whatever this is. So I feel like as I'm assembling this, I might be able to ascertain what they do or what they're for. Oh wait, you know what? I figured this one out. This goes to the shoulder. So this is gonna go inside here. Or no, this one goes on the shield. Maybe, I don't know. One of these goes on the shield, one of them goes on the shoulder. So that's that figured out. Now it's just a matter of figuring out what these other 2 are for. Maybe this goes in the chest or on the chest. I don't know. This is a really strange piece. I can't figure it out. So if any of you have this kit, you know, I guess give me a holler and let me know, because I have no idea. So I'm going to cut this here. I'm going to count these parts out, make sure everything's all right, and make sure that I have everything. And then if not, I will contact my seller and get that all straight. Otherwise, this will be stashed away until I can build it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys check this model out. I think I'm just going to kind of build this one kind of quietly. I don't really have anything planned for it. It's just going to be a Zaku. I might weather it a little bit. But that's when I get the time. I've got a bunch of other projects that I'm doing and working on. I want to make sure I finish those before I start a bunch of new stuff. But with that, I'm going to end this video. I'll see you guys next time. Later.